It's Michael Bosick with 217dent.com out of Springfield, Illinois,
Perfection is in the reflection.
Decatur, Illinois, Taylorville, Illinois, and surrounding areas.
Perfection is in the reflection.
What we're looking at here is a driver's rear quarter of a 2010 Ford Fusion. The vehicle was traded in, and the dealership has no idea how this damage got on the vehicle. This was brought to my attention last week, and I told them I did not have time to get to it last week, and it was one of my first jobs after Labor Day weekend to tackle. The dealership chose paintless dent removal for multiple reasons. It is the best in maintaining the value of the vehicle. There's no mismatched color. There's no fish eyes in a clear coat. There's no dirt in the clear coat. Paintless dent removal is the best option when applicable in removing any damage. There is very tiny paint damage in the center of this impact. I call it the impact point. But it's so minor, it's less than a small paint chip in the hood. But they will touch that up with paint touch-up.
Perfection is in the reflection.
I have my light positioned, and on this dent here, the crown,
Perfection is in the reflection.
there is a lot of pressure underneath this crown. I'm going to be heating it up. I'm setting up my heat gun right now. I'll heat this metal, and specifically on the crown, I'll heat it to about 170 to 200 degrees. And I'll work that crown as the temperature is going down. And that is my go-to tool whenever I'm working a crown. The video is moving at 4 times speed. This dent took approximately 3 hours. .9% of this dent was done through the PDR process or the glue pull process. I only used the tool to straighten up the bottom lip, which you will see that later on in the video. Right now I'm glue pulling with my slide hammer. I'm putting pressure on it, and I'm tapping down the crown at the same time. I am using a protective mat as I'm tapping down that crown because of the pressure that I am putting behind the hammer.
Perfection is in the reflection.
The video is real time. Oh, uncut, unedited, not real time. It's 4 times speed. I am using my trusty Dent light, a mini lifter, tab weld glue, slide hammer.
Perfection is in the reflection.
And I will use a double bend Dent Magic
Perfection is in the
interchangeable
reflection.
tip tool to bring out that bottom edge here in a little bit. That area there is all double paneled. About 75% of this dent was all double paneled. Anytime you get around the gas inlet, it seems to be highly braced and very well enforced. Double paneled.
Perfection is in the reflection.
So whenever I'm pulling out the bottom edge, I'm actually pushing both layers of metal back out to make it align up with the bumper. Creating that body line, putting that body line back in, and as I am tapping that crown down, that crown is moving on me. Also using my trusty jackhammer, my titanium tip, my medical grade screw-on tap down from Dent Technologies. The hammer is from Shane Jack's jackhammer. My trusty Eliminate light, of course.
Perfection is in the reflection.
Aluminum tap down, polished interchangeable tip on it. Polished steel. And my paddle.
Perfection is in the reflection. Perfection is in the reflection.
I'm almost to the point to where I can start moving the bottom of that edge out with a double bend. I put a 2-inch extension and a very sharp tip on the interchangeable tip. Dent Magic tools. I do use the tire as leverage as I'm pushing through both layers of metal. And I use a lot of alcohol to keep my work area clean. Keeping that paint clean or the clear coat clean so I can see the reflection is very important.
Perfection
Every one of these tabs are very strategically placed. This is not a do-it-yourself job. Paintless dent removal is never a do-it-yourself job. It takes years of experience and a lifetime to master.
The lines don't lie. Perfection is in the reflection. The lines don't lie. The lines don't lie. Perfection is in the reflection. The lines don't lie. Perfection is in the reflection. Perfection is in the reflection. The lines don't lie. Perfection is in the reflection. Perfection is in the reflection. The lines don't lie. Perfection is in the reflection.
I'm positioning the light for the Kiko tab.
Reflection.
That tab. I will put a lot of glue on that tab and I'll hold it there for 5 to 20 seconds to make sure the tab don't slide down. I want to make sure that tab goes into the shadow. You don't want to place that tab on the actual high spot because you're just going to pull a higher when I just spent the past 20, 30, 45 minutes knocking the high down.
The lines don't lie. reflection. Perfection is in their reflection. Perfection is in their reflection. Perfection is in their reflection. Their lines don't fly. Their lines don't fly. Perfection is in their reflection. Their lines don't fly. Perfection is in their reflection. Perfection is in their reflection. Their lines don't fly. Perfection is in their reflection. Perfection is in their reflection. stonefly.
That little hammer there has been a lifesaver for me for the past 5 to 6 years. It was my go-to hammer before I was introduced to the jackhammer. But now, with all that metal to metal, I'm going to sand it. I actually used a harder cut sandpaper on this one, which is not very common for me. I went with 2000 grit and 3000 grit sandpaper, and then I buffed it out.
Perfection is in the reflection.
And this repair came out about 98%. Customer was very, very happy with it. The general manager of the dealership came back and inspected it, and I got his approval, and he was thrilled with it, so I called it finished.
Perfection is in the reflection. Perfection is in the reflection. Stonefly. Perfection is in the reflection. Perfection is in the reflection.
Thank you for watching. Again, this is Michael Bosick, serving Springfield, Decatur, and Taylorville, Illinois, in the paintless dent removal profession, maintaining original, maintaining value. Automobile factories use paintless dent removal. Used car dealerships use paintless dent removal. Insurance companies prefer paintless dent removal. Body shops use paintless dent removal. You choose paintless dent removal. Maintaining value of your automobile. Paintless dent removal. No longer a hidden secret.
Perfection is in the reflection. Look at the lines.
www.217dent.com